So it's 1:15 and we're making our way down into the valley towards the water. So probably only got maybe half an hour left or so of walking, and then we'll hit the bottom. So we'll have to find somewhere to camp. We'll probably just kind of wander along the river until we find somewhere. But yeah, it's a pretty beautiful day today. Fairly clear skies, not too much wind. Yeah, it's a nice day for walking. So we've been hearing lots of lyrebirds around, and at this time of year generally they start to come out. Like, I think they're getting towards their mating season, but anyway, we can hear them calling, and they're like the best mimics. If anyone knows about lyrebirds, you'll know that if you're walking the bush, you can hear them sing 5 to 10 different bird songs in a row, and as soon as you kind of hear that succession, you know it's not 5 different species of birds, it's generally a lyrebird. Anyway, we've been seeing their nests around everywhere, and this is what they look like. It's pretty much just a patch of dirt with like lots of space, and that's their nest. Behind me here are a massive group of Xanthorrhoea, which is the grass tree. Absolutely phenomenal plants. They're just, honestly, they're one of my favorite plants. They're so beautiful, so like old and rustic and, pardon? Prehistoric, that's the word I'm looking for. So when these are in flower, these big stalks you see here, this is probably about, I'd say, 2.5 meters tall. When these are flowering, they are so thick and sweet and covered in beautiful nectar that you can run your hand along that stalk, along the flower, and then lick it afterwards, and it's just like honey. That's one of my Aboriginal friend actually told me about that, and I've never forgotten it, and I've done it every single time I see them. That's something I do when they're in flower. But also the stalks, when they're dead, because they're so soft, they're really good for starting friction fires. So that's, I guess, something, if you're ever out in the bush and you see one of these, that's something you could use to start fires. And then, you know, if they're in flower, you can use them as a food source as well. Wow. Anyway, we better keep heading. But yeah, I just wanted to show you these. They actually very much, when they get really shaggy like this is usually when they'd be burnt, because they respond really well to fire. And they love it so much. You can also get, so when you burn them, this thick red sap comes out, and it's pretty much like glue, and Aboriginal people used to use that for glue as well. I'm sure they still do. So I've just spotted one that's starting to flower. There's a couple actually just starting to flower. Usually they start flowering sort of late winter into spring and even into summer.
There's more flowering here.
They will be smothered in bugs and insects. They go absolutely wild for them.
Well, we're just down on the creek bed. You can probably hear the river raging behind us, but we're going to have to find a nice flat spot further away from the river in case of flash flooding, because look at that. That's all debris, probably, I don't know, 2 and a bit meters off the ground. So we're gonna have to find somewhere well and truly away from the water. Last weekend we got quite a bit of rain around this area. There's none predicted for now, but just to be safe.
We're down at the river now, but it is pretty wet. It looks like after that significant rain event last weekend that there was probably some flash flooding come through, which has definitely gone sort of even like 10 meters or so up from the bank where it is now, and even then it's still raging at the moment. So we don't really feel too good about being down here, just in case there's any releases from the dam or anything like that. So better safe than sorry. We're gonna find somewhere just a bit further up the hill and yeah, start setting up camp.
I think we might have found a spot for tonight. It's pretty sheltered. It's a really nice grassy spot just there. Plenty of firewood around. Probably, I don't know, 80 to 100 meters away from the water. So yeah, we don't have to worry. Bit of a mad rush. The fire actually wasn't taking off as easy as we were hoping. Things are so wet.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about this bad filming right now. But yeah. Thank goodness for all the oil in euc leaves, is what I can say. Oh, well, that was a bloody mission to get the fire started. Just, I don't know. I think because of all the rain that we've had, it was just so hard to start that.
Just lots of moisture still in it. Even though it felt dry, it's still holding a fair bit of moisture.
We actually had to tag team it with the flint, but eventually got there in the end. This bark here that we found, really nice long stretches. It's going to dry that bark out so we have something nice and dry to sit on.
4 o'clock. such good beer. This is Bolter XPA. Brewed in Queensland, which I didn't know until now. 1.5er, not too bad. Quite hoppy, but also lots of nice sort of like tropical fruity flavours. Alright, so for dinner, got some packet rice, which we're heating the water up for now, broccolini and pork fillets, which should be a nice cut, and we'll just grill those over the fire. That's good. Just listening to a lyrebird sing. I've already counted about 15 different mimics.
Well, good morning. After a rubbish night with no sleep, I think it's coffee time.
For you.
Yeah, it was just so cold last night. I reckon it was like the coldest that I've ever had a camp out. I think it probably got to -2. Yeah, so my sleeping bag has a comfort rating of -2, and it was not comfortable.
I actually recently bought a sleeping bag liner because my bag's only rated to 2 degrees comfort, so I bought a liner to add an extra 11 degrees supposedly, and I was really warm last night, so it turns out it worked. And yeah, if you have a sleeping bag and it's not quite warm enough, don't bother paying like $600 for a new one or a better one. Just get a liner and chuck it in your already half decent one, and it kind of makes up for it. So, and it's way cheaper. It was only like $70. I'd much rather pay that than like $600 for a new bag. So, yeah, tips. Right, hot chocolate for me.
Man, these coffee mugs are so good. They're like double walled, so you can hold it like this without burning your hands. And then they have this lid that you can put on and off, so you can obviously drink through there, which keeps it nice and warm. And if you're moving about, you don't have to worry about it spilling out.
It's our food bag. So, bread, spinach, red onion, tomato and capsicum, and the star, tofu. So what we're making this morning is called scrambled tofu. It's pretty much just, rather than using eggs, we're using tofu, and we've got some sort of Moroccan spices, cumin, coriander, paprika, a little bit of chili powder, salt, pepper, and that'll just go in the mix. So we'll fry the stuff off first and then mix it all together. It won't look great, but it tastes good, I can guarantee it. Just dicing this tomato. This I just thinly slice. A lot of people don't like tofu, but yeah, I really enjoy it. I don't know why people don't like it. I mean, it doesn't taste much. You just kind of give it whatever flavour you want. And you can get different textures. If you don't like the really soft one, this one's pretty soft, so we can scramble it. If you don't like really soft one, you can get a nice firm one, or you can get the silken one and just dress it with like soy and spring onions.
Well, there you have it. Tofu scramble. So keen.
Turns out this is also really good as basically bark is just the best for everything. When anything's wet, this is the best. And dirt doesn't really stick to it as much. That's so good. I'd highly recommend making this. It's really easy to make and it's delicious. it's going to be a bit of a slow slog out of here because it is pretty steep the whole way up, and we have sore quads from our descent yesterday, so it's going to be an interesting ride. Probably have a couple of stops, but I think it's going to take about 2 hours, maybe even a bit longer to walk back up. Right, so we're pretty much at the top now. I'll just show you where we've come from. So, it's a rock ledge here, but there's a river down there, and we would have been further down to the left, just around this bend. But not a bad hike back up and down as well. Nice walk. Yeah, pretty tough going, but yeah, it was good. It was worth it. So we might say goodbye now, and hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.